Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first game of Iron Squid Show 3, and it's my pleasure to introduce the first contestant for this show. Hailing from South Korea, and of course the Team Prime. He's in the red trunks playing down to the southwest. It is MarineKingPrime versus his opponent up to the northeast of the Cloud Kingdom in the blue trunks. Hailing from South Korea and Team Evil Geniuses, he is the one and only PuMa.
And I really do think, as mentioned before, it will be a clash of styles here. PuMa's always been known for his mech in TVT, and on the other hand, MarineKingPrime always uses Marines, so we'll see. And I feel that also Cloud Kingdom will help out the mech player a little bit more because of the ease between the natural to the third base. It's just a short walking distance where mech can just hop, skip, and jump a few tanks and get access to a 5th and 6th gas.
Yeah, that's very true, and we've got a little bit of a differentiation between these guys to start with. We've got MarineKing putting his supply depot very, very close to his CC, which is of course done to make sure that the SCV doesn't have to travel as far, and it gives him a slight timing advantage. It means he can also mine just a few more minerals.
Absolutely, and it looks like PuMa just wants to go ahead and hide his build more than anything here. That there's the only reason here to wall off, and he will want to complete the wall off with the supply depot shortly. He's actually checking around with his SCV for locations that barracks could have been hidden in. Check the natural, he's checked the third base also. So we do see PuMa being very safe to begin with so far.
You can hardly blame him. It is MarineKingPrime. He's not exactly known for playing straight up. He can certainly play straight up, but proxies with MarineKingPrime, hidden bases, all sorts of things. I remember the incidents of him just lifting off to the gold base straight at the start of the game. He'd be happy enough to do that.
Absolutely, MarineKingPrime not afraid of anything really, but it looks like he's just going for a straight one barracks expansion, and PuMa's doing the same thing, just going to hide his expansion though, so when and if we do see MarineKingPrime scout at all, it will be hidden, and it could look like him, anything, Cloak Banshees, Reactor Hellion, anything along these lines, but it's actually just going to be a very simple expansion here for PuMa.
Yep, the mind games have begun in this particular game, and down goes PuMa just to the natural here, once again checking around. He is rather paranoid, isn't he? Good lord. It just wouldn't surprise me if he came across 3 hidden CCs just in the corner here. It's just MarineKingPrime. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, and PuMa's hidden an SCV inside the main base, which is an amazing little maneuver here, because he's going to be able to go in and see, oh, there's no extra barracks, oh, there's the double gas instead, so he knows exactly what his opponent is doing, and PuMa so far hasn't decided to grab the gases yet, interestingly enough. I wonder, he actually throws down a bunker before anything, so that's 100 minerals taken away from the double gas, taken away from the double barracks as well, which means he's, again, just playing so safe.
Well, MarineKing has been on a tear lately. You can hardly blame him. It's a formidable opponent to say the least. One could argue that PuMa's already had his easier opponents, and now is very, very cautious because he is fighting for group survival against 2 very, very good TBTers.
Absolutely, and it looks like PuMa does throw down 2nd and 3rd barracks now instead. We'll want to get the 1st and 2nd gas as well very shortly here. And in MarineKingPrime, he does get a factory with a reactor, so it looks like he can start. I don't think he's going to switch up for Hellions, it doesn't make that much sense, but it makes more sense for him just to produce a lot of Marines and tech straight up into a Medivac here. Maybe look to drop them somewhere, maybe even for an early Banshee.
Well, we'll see. They're both around the same time, so what's he going to go for it? There is the Starport, as you mentioned. He is going to go for Hellions, so I'm intrigued. Possibly Hellion drop play coming in here with the Starport directly to follow that up. Awesome kind of weird, funky 1-1-1. He's also mining from 3 of these refineries. Admittedly, he's only got 1 SCV in this one.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he's definitely looking to tech up here as he throws a tech lab down. He's already got, 250 gas, basically. And he's going to be even more. And there's that SCV from PuMa goes in and sees everything.
Well, that's very useful information to have, isn't it? And MarineKing can't be happy about revealing that, especially if he's going to go for some funky TBT build that relied on this kind of surprise. And, well, now PuMa's thinking, well, this could get a little bit messy for me. A second factory is going down behind this, and it's not for a drop either. He's going down onto a tech lab with a Raven.
Yeah, the Raven is because he hasn't seen anything, not even if there's an expansion here. So that Raven is literally an anti-everything. His build is anti-everything. It's just good against everything, including Cloak Banshees. And now the Hellions are going to go down and see an expansion eventually, and it's going to be like, oh, okay, that's the build you've done. But with the second and third factory coming down, we're actually seeing role reversal here between these two guys, as we see MarineKingPrime playing mech and PuMa going bio.
Well, that's intriguing, isn't it? I have to wonder how that's going to turn out. Marauders are coming out for PuMa, as well as the combat shield upgrade. Be going for stim directly after that one, has to imagine. Engineering Bay also going down for PuMa, looking to go for the upgrade heavy bio style. Certainly nothing wrong with that. And then now we see the starport switching over after getting that one Raven just to make sure, and then he can move on to producing medevacs.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very good against Cloak Banshee. The timing was perfect on and everything, but it also can save up energy for point defense drones against Marauders now as well. And Blue Flame has been researched. A scan lands down on everything of MarineKingPrime here. Beautiful scan there by PuMa, and sees the 3 factories, sees now the reactor on the starport also. And meanwhile, we do see him just teching up. Very standard play here by PuMa. Is even spreading Marines and Marauders out in the main base just in anticipation of any Blue Flame or regular Hellion drops.
Yeah, he's playing as safe as he possibly can against an opponent that's highly unpredictable, and PuMa has been very active with his scouting, and it's certainly served him well. He knows it's got to be mech play. But what kind of mech play? Does he know that that's Blue Flame, or is he thinking is that Siege Tech, for instance? He doesn't know for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, eventually everything will be researched, but right now he doesn't know if that is Blue Flame. So even moving out with a handful of units right now as PuMa could be dangerous. He's going to have to start to stretch himself out and spread himself out more in terms of he needs to expand faster, he needs to upgrade faster, because as a mech player that we're seeing from MarineKingPrime, he's going to be on a bit more defensive style aside from these Hellions, which do have Blue Flame, and PuMa caught out of position here. Could lose everything on his natural if MarineKingPrime knew that there were no units there.
Yeah, certainly, and he doesn't, and he's not exactly being all that active with his scouting, yet he is going to figure it out as if this barracks actually floats over there. We've got an attack force coming across the map from PuMa that's going to run into an awful lot of tanks, but they don't have siege tech yet. This will also reveal the Blue Flame as he goes in there. There we go, a Blue Flame has been revealed. Marauders are focusing fire the tanks down. This is absolutely fantastic play by PuMa to start with. Already taking 2 tanks, looking to take a third. The repairs come in to save it, and that was still a bit of a damaging attack there from PuMa just to kill off the tank count.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, it's bad because he lost more resources than it actually killed, but at the same time he's playing against mech, which relies on heavy tank count. So that was actually kind of an equal trade there, but more, I'd even say and go to the extent of that it was better for PuMa than it was, because if you bring in the fact that PuMa's expanded behind this, he's got a third base about to finish up. We also have double engineering base for double upgrades. He is stretching far, and he actually slowed his push down a little bit because instead of 4 tanks now, there's 6.
Yep, and here it comes. So there's, only 4 tanks on the field.
I mean,
at the moment.
Wrong way around, sorry.
There's some interesting math going on right here, but we've got a lot of fire, more to the point, coming in. A lot of Marauders in that group, which is very, very sensible, but Marauders don't kill Hellions that quickly, sadly, because they're not armored units, and the tanks now coming in to back this up. We can even see the point defense drone actually contributing to this. It can shoot down Marauder concussive shells. It does work, and now the push comes in from MarineKing, and he's got the siege up. Oh my, that's going to be a lot of dead SCVs any moment now. This is looking really bad here for PuMa as he loses a ton of SCVs on his natural. He can't even throw it back. The Blue Flame Hellions remain alive.
Oh wow, he just lost 30 SCVs in that little push. It's not even a little push, man. 30 SCVs is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. Without question, at this stage of the game, the supply count is now heavily in favor of MarineKingPrime, looking to expand behind that. PuMa is in a lot of trouble. There's even a good amount of air superiority on the field here for MarineKing, which is fantastic. He's got 5 Vikings out, which means any attempt to bring medevacs out to support PuMa will end in those medevacs being shot out of the sky very quickly, so they won't actually contribute to the fight at all. He could even transition out of this into pure sky terrain if he wanted, if he had that kind of air superiority. He's not going to, though, because there's no reason for him to. He's adding on another factory. He's got this command center up. things are looking great for MarineKing, and PuMa is certainly playing from behind.
Yeah, and now as MarineKingPrime takes the gases on this third base, that's when his tank production, and even though he's added on one factory, he could add on 3 more factories or something along those lines now, as the gas income will allow him to do so. But he's going for another push now, and the barracks scouts on the natural that there's not that many units there. It is in a good position, and he will be able to move forward once again, set up siege underneath that natural or just up that ramp by the destructible rocks, and that is a very narrow area for PuMa to actually engage in, and this could be checkmate here.
It very well might be, especially with the Vikings in play, allowing some extra range here for these siege tanks. He's going to stagger the tank deployment just to make sure that he can't get flanked, and that's the biggest risk in this position, that PuMa gets off one of his legendary flanking attacks, but there's no way MKP is going to allow it to happen. Another scan goes down. That's where the flanking force is, and MarineKing already knows about it, so he is well deployed to receive that. He's going to try and knock down this barracks as well, just darting in and out with these Hellions. The flanking force comes around the side here, and that one Hellion is going to be the savior because it's going to spot those coming in. The tanks get good salvos off already. The Hellions used to delay it. The Vikings landing down as well. Can PuMa actually crush this? He comes in from both sides, and he knocks that push down very effectively, even though MarineKing was ready for it.
Yeah, that was really nice there by PuMa, coming in from different sides. The medevac count really allowed him, as you can see, it's 6 medevacs, allowed them units to heal up, and then to kind of soak a lot of damage, and then continue their assault. And now all of a sudden, tables have turned a little bit here, but not fully, as you can see, 2 extra command centers, 1 just finishing up, 1 extra added on now. Mules coming down on this third base, and that tank production, how many do we have out now? Only 5 tanks is not actually that many, still only on 4 factories. He definitely could be more than that.
Yeah, PuMa looking to strike as well, and also MarineKing doesn't really have any upgrades here either, which definitely isn't helping because these bio units are heavily upgraded. Those Hellions just got ripped to shreds, and the Viking count is a lot lower than it was. Unfortunately, they were dropped on the ground to act as a deterrent and weren't able to shoot medevacs out of the sky. So now we have this nasty mass of medevacs, which is very hard to get rid of. And as a result, PuMa's army just won't die.
Absolutely, and PuMa's really taking control of this game now. He's recovered and is starting to catch really back up. I mean, he's at 55 SCVs to 76. The economy is very much so in favor of MarineKingPrime, but he doesn't. He only has 4 factories, and I can't stress the importance of that. That's so low at this stage of the game. He could be at double. And I'm really surprised that that is happening here. But at the same time, PuMa now rapidly expanding, building a 4th command center. His upgrades are looking really, really nice now at 2-1, soon to be 3-2 as these do finish. And he looks like he may try to drop. Well, I don't think a drop would be the best decision, but if he could run in and snipe gas or command center and supply depots on this right side, that's really good harassment.
Yes, it would be. And we've got a lot of Hellions now rolling out against these Marauders, which is not a very good idea. The Marauders will start to pick things off, and supply depots getting picked off here as well as this push comes in. The tanks are not really deployed in the right position, but now the Viking count's really silly, so it's able to knock plenty of medevacs out of the sky. And if he does that, then he's going to soften this attack force up very nicely indeed. Another factory is being added on. The amount of minerals that MarineKing is floating at the moment is kind of silly, and I feel that another reacted factory would make all the difference here because it'd have a much larger Hellion count to soak up a lot of this damage, and that would just slaughter the Marine count. You'll notice the Marauder count is very, very heavy in PuMa's composition, deliberately. You can't have a lot of Marines if your opponent has 20 Blue Flame Hellions.
Absolutely, and he is upgrading them as well, so they'll be at +2 vehicle weapons very shortly here. And what MarineKingPrime's looking at doing is just go 200 supply, and then look for a big push. And all he has to do now is defend against PuMa, whose goal right now is to slow down in any way possible. Any form of little drop, any form of angles like killing those supply depots as well. I wouldn't even be surprised. Well, actually, I was going to say maybe he could drop in the main, but MarineKingPrime very smartly on the left-hand side with 2 turrets on the natural, which will stop any drop there. And then he has the sensor tower on the right. So he's actually covered all angles very nicely.
And here comes the rollout. What a scary rollout. There's 19 tanks in that army, Apollo, and they're about to have +2. That's crazy. He's going to add 2 more as they very slowly make their way through the destructible rocks here and take control of this area. Zelnaga Tower is currently in control of MarineKingPrime, and he's looking to take the high ground here as well. That force cannot stand against that many tanks, but in the meantime, here comes this flanking attack. 1 CC will be destroyed, but potentially, but it's actually going to go all the way in for the tanks, which is absolutely fine as well. well, because it's going to do a lot of damage here, but this push is looking nigh on unstoppable. It doesn't matter if the third goes down if MarineKing gets the kill here.
Yeah, and PuMa knows he can't fight it. It was really sloppy from MarineKingPrime not to have those tanks sieged up on the third base, but he won't make that mistake twice as he's starting to siege up the new tanks that come out, but PuMa's going for it.
I don't think he can base trade this. I don't think he's got the firepower necessary to make that happen, especially with more and more tanks being deployed. He's now going to go and drop into the main here. Just a couple of deployed tanks would slow this up quite nicely. The base trade, though, I think is heavily in favor of MarineKingPrime, who's still got 18 tanks here. It's going to tear its way through the main.
Indeed, and PuMa's killing everything now. That's everything gone for MarineKingPrime. He will only have his tanks out. But the thing is, we see PuMa re-expanding, rebuilding everywhere. He has expansions on the left side. He actually has 3 additional barracks and can easily start Marauder production on them, as we see 5 at a time. He's only got 3 barracks, got a lot of money. I guess that's acceptable in this scenario. But at the same time, if an engagement comes head-to-head, no doubt about it, MarineKingPrime will win.
Yeah, and this is weird, isn't it? There are 5 SCVs currently on the map here for MarineKingPrime. I'm damned if I know where they are, but they are on the map, and he's got 2.5k banked up. PuMa's now supply blocked, so he's not going to be producing anything anytime soon. These SCVs are about to get absolutely destroyed. The landed Vikings have been tearing their way through the third here. The 4th and 5th bases are currently not actually all that operational here for PuMa. And then you can notice PuMa's force has tore its way through the main. It's now working on the natural. There are CCs flying everywhere. There are 3 airborne command centers already.
And what MarineKingPrime is going to do here is just walk around the map killing everything, and anything that tries to float away, pick them off the Vikings. Very simple. But PuMa has no way to kill air. That's the really tough thing for him. He has a decent ground force that is well upgraded, but it won't beat a head-to-head fight unless it gets bigger. But that's so much time that MarineKingPrime could just go around and kill everything.
Yeah, he's just going to knock it all down here, and there's very little left for PuMa. The 5 SCVs are actually with the tank force as well. He could very easily just build a wall of plant. Well, just build a couple of CCs, planetary fortress, stuff like that once he gets his engineering bay back up. But both of these guys are currently supply blocked. PuMa is continuing to actually build things, and this floating CC is going to find everything. And is he actually going to go for it? PuMa's going to go for it up against that many siege tanks.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a good idea.
He was thinking about it because they were on siege, but as soon as they got sieged up, he's like, no, I can't do that. But at the same time, supply depots are now finishing up for PuMa. Just has enough to build 3 more Marauders, but the rest are going to be supply blocked. And he's just trying to add on to his force because they are at 3-2 upgrades. The tanks are at 2-0, and if he catches everything on siege, he could actually win. No doubt about it. That's why he's still in the game. But we do have now MarineKingPrime setting up on this new expansion of his and leaving a majority of the tanks just spread across. And there's actually no angle here for PuMa to go in.
Well, not really. Is there ever an angle to go up against 16 plus 2 siege tanks? Not exactly. Those things are incredibly crazy in terms of how much firepower they've got. I don't know where this is going to go, honestly. I still think MarineKing's probably got it. He's about to burn this orbital command out in the corner here, which is kind of unfortunate, but he does have 2 more, so he's not overly concerned about that. He's also still got buildings randomly strewn across the map, which makes any kind of base race a little bit impossible for PuMa to actually pull off. And now we're back into this stalemate where it's pretty much nothing but Medevac and pure Marauder versus tanks. And if the Marauders can get in close, then that'll be fine. But if you get a good spread of tanks, then that's not really a factor. And also with that amount of Vikings, I would think a Medevac goes down one salvo will take a Medevac out of the air. And those Medevacs are difficult to replace here.
Absolutely, but the thing is, the worrying thing here from MarineKingPrime is, even though he's got money banked up, he just has he's got a really bad income because he's only mining minerals from 1. Scan does go down, which is brave from PuMa considering he needs every little bit of money he can get. But he now realizes, okay, siege up on that 1 base, you can have that 1 base. But good luck trying to take another one, because as soon as you're on siege, I'm going to come in you. And now PuMa has 3 command centers. He has 3 set of mules. He's going to be mining a lot more and having a better income here. So actually, as time goes on here, PuMa's going to get stronger and stronger, and I feel that MarineKingPrime is now the one in trouble as he's just confined to this one area.
I feel that MarineKingPrime has an opportunity if he uses his Vikings correctly. And if he actually uses his Vikings to start harassing these bases, PuMa can't defend them both. Yeah, there are no missile turrets down at the moment. and that seems to be the last thing on PuMa's mind. But these Vikings could very easily harass these bases, going back and forth, killing SCVs. That would wear PuMa down, and it would also force him into an attack situation. So I want to see that from MarineKingPrime here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very smart idea. We'll see if he does it. I mean, my first location would be top left, especially because he's seen it. But at the same time, it looks like, MarineKingPrime playing very cautious, doesn't want to lose them. But I'm still watching the Vikings if he actually going to move them. But like I said, the more this goes on, it's getting better and better for PuMa. He actually has the SCV lead now. He has the better aim come across 3 bases, and his supply is taking the lead.
Yeah, PuMa's also building 2 of the starports here, so either he's looking for... Well, I would imagine he's just looking for air superiority, because if he gets air superiority, that's it, MarineKing loses, because it's this Viking count that is keeping the tanks alive. If Banshees started to come in here and pick the tanks off, that would be devastating. So he needs to outproduce 11 Vikings. And if he does that, and if he knocks the Vikings out, then that's GG.
Yeah. So we'll see if he does decide to do that. We do have Vikings being made now. 3rd factory as well, with another tech lab coming down. I guess that'll be for the Cloak Banshees. That's pretty smart too. So, I mean, there's just so many options here for PuMa, and MarineKingPrime moving around, sniping off a medivac here and there. He's got to be careful though. He doesn't want to lose these to +3 Marines, but just there's so many options for PuMa. Just on 3 base alone, he can do anything. And it looks like, as you said, Viking production is going to begin. And to topple 11 Vikings isn't even that hard at this rate of income.
Especially if you throw a Raven in there. If you could throw a Raven in there, that would be absolutely fantastic. So maybe that's what he wants to do with this tech lab here. Start with a Raven, and then he can go Banshees, at which point there is no answer for MarineKingPrime, because his Viking count is pretty much static. It's at 11. I still don't like the fact that MarineKing has sat on these Vikings and not harassed with them. It seems like a wasted opportunity, and now it's becoming a bit uglier because the Viking production has started for PuMa. There was this big window where he could have done damage, and he hasn't. And it's going to be a Banshee. He's not actually going to even bother with the Raven. He's going to go straight for Cloak Banshee here.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a limited amount of scans too. There's been 2 orbital commands, but one was in the air for so long that cooling down mules because he's confined to this small area, so he's not going to have any scans, and adding in Cloak Banshees in there as well. And he may actually add on a Raven afterwards, and that would really... I mean, he could have like 6 Vikings and a point defense drone and topple the 11 Vikings, so... we'll see how this does go down now. MarineKingPrime has spread across the 2 bases now, but he's thin in terms of tanks. They're not all clumped up in one area, so if PuMa was to go with everything in one location and found that area, he could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he's able to pick off a couple more Hellions, which can now be replaced for MarineKingPrime. The income for both is pretty terrible, but it's slightly in favor of PuMa at the moment. He's got more SCVs. Viking count still remains at 11, but it's now 5 for PuMa, and it's going to be 9 very shortly. So this is the concern. And if, as I said, if the Viking count goes down, it's lights out. There's nothing MarineKing can do.
Yeah, I really don't think he knows how many command centers are out there. Because I'm looking at MarineKing's vision, he doesn't know about the one in the left or the bottom right. He only knows about the top left. So that's a little bit scary for MarineKingPrime, and I think he feels he's further ahead than he actually is. Yeah,
I think so. That's the only reason, as far as I'm concerned, as to what MarineKingPrime is doing. That's the only way to explain it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit sad. Another scan does go down on top of the Vikings and sees that some of them are hurt here for MarineKingPrime, and PuMa's going to be very happy to move out now. I mean, his Vikings are healthier. They have the all green health bars all over the place. The Viking count now is about to overcome as these new Vikings do pop out, and now he's going to have the lead, and it's just a matter of time here, unfortunately, until MarineKingPrime is going to be forced out this game. Because once, as you said, that is toppled, there's 2 Banshees in here as well with Cloak. No scans available as he's using every single inch of energy on mules to increase his income. But this is going to be a little bit sad for MarineKingPrime's fans, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. He's played well in this game, but at this point, he is basically doomed. He's now rolling out, and this is kind of the only thing he can do, really, is to roll out and try and kill his opponent, and maybe, just maybe, he gets lucky, especially if he's got SCVs repairing those Vikings, and he's able to knock enough units out of the air so that he maintains air superiority, and then the Banshees don't work so well, but... Like I said, the Banshees are just going to kill everything, but now he's starting to finally roll out, and he's going to be able to kill the space in the corner, which is a good start, but PuMa is everywhere else. That's the real problem, and in come the Vikings and the Banshees. Oh my, this is where things start to get really messy. Oh, and the initial salvo comes off for PuMa as well. This could not have gone any worse here for MarineKing. All of these tanks are now just going to die straight up. This CC has been denied, but there's about 6 more on the map.
Yeah, this is definitely a facepalm moment for MarineKingPrime's like, oh, I've got so many tanks, I'll kill you. Oh, wait, I don't have enough Vikings because you overproduced me. And now, oh my god, the tanks, I was going to say they could have got caught out of position there, but this is really looking good for PuMa now, who's turned this game around. He actually should have lost this game, really, but managed to salvage it.
Yep, he really did, and that's quite impressive. And Miss Salto actually gets up. I'm not sure how that happened. And it's even got to knock a Banshee. Second Banshee. What? What? He lost all his Banshees. He actually let the missile turrets go up.
But the tanks are gone.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, it doesn't matter, but I'm just like, why would he let him do that? But it doesn't matter. There's the GG right there. Oh man, everything got crushed, which was fairly predictable, honestly. Without the Viking cover and trying to stay mobile with the tanks, those Marauders were just gonna come around and smash everything, and that's a weird start to the series.
It really was. I was like, ugh. Well, I really do feel that MarineKingPrime had the better strategy. As we kind of talked about, I felt that mech would be strong on this map because it is easy to take. The rush distances and push distances are very short, and I think MarineKingPrime chose the right strategy and should have come out ahead there. But at the same time, you can't take anything away from PuMa, who managed to force that base race scenario, who managed to get command centers all over the place and come back from that almost unwinnable situation.
Yeah, I'm not happy with MKP. I don't like to criticize players who are better than I'll be in a million years, but I'm not happy with what he didn't do with his Vikings. And he had almost a 10-minute window where he could have forced PuMa out of the game with Viking harassment, and he didn't do it. He would have also had more information about what his opponent was brewing in the background. But no, he sat there with it. You only need a couple of Vikings there to give you the visibility that your tanks require. You don't need 11, especially when you know your opponent has no air other than Medivacs. Sure, I get it, no problem. Shoot the Medivacs down, very effective. But PuMa's not going to let you do that. He's not going to run into your tanks because you're not an idiot. So use your Vikings to harass. And that would have stopped what PuMa did there. And it's sad because, like you said, PuMa should have lost that game. It was MarineKing's to win, and he did kind of throw it away there.
Yeah, and even a couple of, potluck Hellions as well. Once the tanks come up, the factories came up, he could have thrown a couple left and right, maybe looking for the SCVs, scouting and so on. Definitely a few areas there that MarineKingPrime should have done better on. Like, you can even go back to the roots and say, hey, you should have had those 4 tanks siege up on that third base when that base race come in.
Yeah, mistakes were made, and a funky TBT to start off this series. I'm interested to see what the next one will be like. Hopefully it is not disappointing in comparison, because this was very interesting. We will find out after this short commercial break. Don't go anywhere.